Greetings everyone. I have been working on the budget app. It does quite a bit more than just your balance now, which I have broken down so it has your original revenue and original expenses with your balance here. And by default, it actually does more now. It starts off with analyzing your revenue. So let's just say, I don't know, I had a birthday gift of $50. Let me see here, $50. There we go. And as you can see, it recalculates. And we have birthday gift is down here. And as you can see, I can just start kind of clicking away. And it's going to start telling me that birthday card was 8.6% of my revenue. And if I found cash as well, now the birthday card and the found cash are basically 68.9% of my overall income. Now, let's just go for analyze expenses. Now, we always know where we stood. This is where we were originally. And so, as you can see here, it starts off the same number. And let's just say I'm spending too much money, so I'm going to start working out at home. And I'm going to drink my coffee. I'm going to stop drinking coffee. That should save me $37 or 25.3% of my expenses. And obviously, when we go around to other budgets that I have, as you can see, they just do the same thing. So I got a paycheck here that coincidentally is worth 70% of my overall income. And if I wanted to check out the expenses here, and say my mortgage in particular is going to be 99% of my overall expenses in this world here. So that's kind of how I'm working with this. I've used it before when we break down like bank files and whatnot. So this helps out in your business when you can tell where most of your income is coming from or where most of your expenses are going. It's a hell of a lot better than just kind of guessing. And this is kind of my move as to I'm trying to get free software for people so they don't have to buy expensive stuff to do very basic things. I mean, this is something any business could use, and I hope you utilize it to your advantage. And I hope that you learn something here by walking through the code and kind of seeing what we did. Now, this is a lot of it is what we did in the last lesson. So we're building out the budget. As you can see, it's all the same here. We're calling all of getting our functions prepared and getting our menus built. And we're going ahead and setting everything once the list is built. And we differentiate the difference between a plus and a minus. If it's a plus, then it's a revenue. If it's a negative number, then it's an expense. And this is how we basically figure that out. And then we'll add up the totals, so we can always have that. And then we fill in the blanks to where those totals go so that we can always know originally where we started. And then we update pi, which is the new function. And we only pass pi because we default to revenue. And that's why these here are empty going to expenses. Now, these obviously remove item and append to list. Those were here the last time, the last lesson. The plus minus obviously was there to determine if something's negative, positive. Here we go. Analyze. Now, this is when you want to go ahead and start analyzing either your revenue, which is on default down here, or you analyze your expenses. These buttons are basically right here. And then from there, we start the works. We go ahead and do an update. Now, we're updating list A at all times. So list A is going to get the revenue in this case if it's revenue. Else, if it's not revenue, if it's expenses, then we're going to have the expenses sent out in list A. And you see how that works? When we do analyze, list B is always empty. And then let's move on to our new JavaScript. Now, if you're familiar with ApexCharts, ApexCharts has a lot of documentation. And within that documentation, you're going to find that they have a lot of variables that they accept. Sizes, colors, legend, all sorts of font concepts. These are all available, and I've been utilizing them, as you can see. So go to the Apex, it's called a pie chart, and then you'll find the documentation for this in particular. Now here's the function that I called update pie, And we know this one will always be having the data, and this one will start off as empty. And so we're going to start building out. This is by default, that's empty. Once you go through here and we start transferring, because we have a button that says transfer from, I'll show you where the difference is. So once I start doing a transfer, so transferred from list A, and this is iteration 0. And then that's how I do it. So I would transfer. And it moves it right along. So if it says list A, that means I go through list A. And if it's not the one I chose, then I go ahead and push it back into list A. If it is the one I chose, then list B is going to have it added on. So it's kind of like a lot of times people will use slice or pop underneath the JavaScript hood. Technically, it has to be doing a for loop in reality, because it has to go check every one of them and see, hey, is this what we're looking for? So I'm just doing what it does, but this, in my opinion, is more legible. I think sometimes I can get confused. So the for loop is my move. I like to do for loops when I'm kind of juggling things from back and forth, especially. And as you can see, if it's list B that they equal, then we're going to do the opposite. So everything will still go into list B except the one that they chose, and then that will just go into list A. And then we got to clear out the target list, because we're going to do the update pi, which we have up here. And that's going to take the data that I've sent, the objects that I've sent, that each object is full of item name and amount, or I'm sorry, label and amounts. And it determines which one goes where. And that's it. You're just toggling the item you chose from back to forth from one array object array to the next. And it toggles. And that's really it. And then these calculations run through to the Apex donut chart. And from there, that's very, very basic stuff I'm sending it. I mean, it only has 2 items to compare in this sort of, in this sort of lesson. So I hope you learned something, and I hope you use this for your business and it helps you excel.